It'll be a lot easier with that.
Howdy, cowpoke. I make no secret that I'm a huge fan of the Western genre, and Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online have been more than a game, but a blessing for fellers like me. It not only gives us the chance to create our own characters in a Western role-playing game, but to recreate some of the characters we've come to know and love from a lifetime spent loving Westerns. One of those characters, without question, is the Man with No Name, aka Blondie, from the aptly called Man with No Name series by director Sergio Leone. We were first introduced to Blondie in one of the most famous Westerns of all time, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. If not for that film and Clint Eastwood's iconic performance as the Man with No Name, I may have never been turned on to or fallen in love with some of my favorite films, such as The Magnificent Seven, Lonesome Dove, yes, I know it's a mini-series, Tombstone, True Grit, and even Blazing Saddles and Back to the Future Part 3. Hey, those are Westerns. The list goes on and on. For that reason, I decided Blondie should be my first character creation that I share with the Red Dead community. In this video, I'll be covering the clothing, the hair and facial hairstyles, the weapons, and last, but certainly not least, the Steed. As for the look in the character creation menu, the character I initially made was based on myself and having an everyman appearance. However you would like to tweak your character to get as close to resembling Clint Eastwood, I leave up to you. But for the sake of this video, let's head on over to the Saint Denis tailor and do some clothes shopping. For the outfit, let's start with the shirt. Blondie wore a plain gray button-down collared shirt. While he is frequently seen with a black band around his neck, the game's neckwear just doesn't quite work with the outfit since it can only be worn with the shirt collar closed. An alternative to this would be the gray shirt with the dark collar. I, however, chose to keep this part simple and went with the plain gray button-down shirt, the only variation being that I rolled up the sleeves. Kind of my own personal touch. For the pants, again, we have a pretty spot-on match with the black cuffed town pants. Of course, any variation you'd like to make is up to you, but just about every other pair of pants in the catalog just doesn't seem to fit. Of course, we can't have our Man with No Name walk around as the Man with No Footwear, so the next on our list is the boots. Blondie wears a simple style of brown boots. As varied as the boot selection is, finding the match proved to be a little harder, but I settled on the worn roper boots. Not only are they the basic classic style no-fringe cowboy boots, they look to be an almost exact match when compared side by side with the rest of the outfit. As for the spurs, any pair with a brown heel band and round rowel ought work, but I settled on the worn-looking Gurdon spurs. Speaking of exact matches, picking out the vest was no challenge at all, as the perfect vest to recreate the Man with No Name is the sheepskin vest. It's so perfect, it's as if it was made just for this moment. However, this one is gonna cost you some gold. 7 gold to be exact. Picking out a hat was reasonably easy, as the hat Blondie wears very closely matches what the game calls the stalker hat in the worn brown configuration. Next, we move on to the poncho, which proved to be the most difficult of all, as there is nothing even close to being an exact match in the game. I can't help but wonder if Rockstar did that intentionally to avoid any type of copyright issues, as every single other item is simply historically accurate cowboy wear. For the poncho, I ultimately landed on 2 of them, one to wear down and one to wear back. For the latter, I decided on the terras in brown with this pattern, and for the former, I landed on the well-patterned corchado. The Prieto would have made a nice option in style, but sadly the colors just don't work. If you do decide on one of these, it will cost you an additional 6 gold. In retrospect, I ended up landing on a third poncho, and that is the Cardenas in brown and white. I feel this one is probably the closest match of all, and this is the one I've been typically using ever since the making of the video. To complete the look, let's head to the Saint Denis barber. Blondie's hair is a bit fuller by the time we get to a fistful of dollars, but none of the fuller cuts looked right, so I settled on the shorter hair from Good, Bad, and Ugly the best I could, in going with the short peat in the dirty blonde color, as this color, at least, is a good match in that it looks darker in the shadows and lighter in the sun. The facial hair was even trickier, as there seems to be no options for a trimmed back beard that's past the 5-day. Since I didn't like any of the beards, the best option left was to go with scruff. It may not be an exact match, but it fits the character, and personally, I think it looks pretty good. Even with that, the look still isn't complete as we head to Chinatown to visit the gunsmith for not just our guns, but importantly our gun belt as well. While there's no perfect match for the gun belt, the closest thing is going to cost 2 gold, as I went with the brown embossed gunslinger belt. The color, embossing, and built-in buckle make this the best bet. But now that gun belt needs something to go in it, and the game does have two of the exact weapons used by the man with no name. 1851 Colt, or as the game calls it, Duke, Navy revolver with a cartridge conversion. On screen you see a close-up of an exact replica of Blondie's gun, and we're going to try to recreate that. It's the customizing the weapons that will cost you the most gold. In-game, however, even though you load cartridges, every close-up of the gun shows it as a cap percussion model. Little factoid about the 1851 Colt for you. For the barrel and the cylinder, I matched the blackened steel. I also did the frame in blackened steel as it extended too far when making it brass. Brass is the choice, however, for the trigger guard and hammer. The engravings on the cylinder can't match, however, as the 1851 Colt, the cylinder was engraved with a scene from the naval battle of Campeche, which occurred on both April 30th and May 16th, 1843. Whatever design you land on is up to you, but my personal preference was the Victorian. For the grips, I simply changed them out for the ironwood grips, and completing the look was a piece of cake with the rattlesnake engraving for the grip available. Tell me how you think I did in the comments. For the rifle, you have to grab that Litchfield repeater, whose real-life counterpart is the 1873 Winchester. Again, you'll be going with black and steel for the barrel, and doing the same with the hammer and trigger this time as well. The receiver should be brass, and the stock should be any dark wood. It's not done yet though, as you will have to add a scope to make Blondie's repeater complete. Now that we have the clothes, the hair, the guns, the equipment, and even a cool poncho, you think we'd be done, right? The man with no name needs a steed, and the game has the perfect match for a fistful of dollars. You will have to head here on your map to the northwest of Wallace Station. To all my cowpoke gunslingers and dancing gals alike, thanks for stopping in with me today. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a like. Tell me in the comments what Western character you'd like to see me recreate, and hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on future Red Dead Redemption content. As always, I'm James, you're watching The Dark Knight of Thrones, and we shall see you next time.